Hello friends, if you're new to my channel, welcome. Why don't you go down and hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss any episodes. For my fans and subscribers, welcome back. Thank you for the patronage, I really do appreciate it. Today's topic, Jehovah's Witnesses, Rutherford and Theocracy. Not much else I need to say, let's get on with the video. On January 6, 1917, Joseph Rutherford was elected president of the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society. He changed the name from Bible Students to Jehovah's Witnesses, and with that, a new chapter had begun for the organization. He was born on November 8, 1869, on a small farm in Missouri, and had to work very hard for what he had. By sheer force of will, he studied law under an apprentice system and passed the bar in 1892. Due to these experiences, he developed hatred for big business, politicians, and especially clergy. Penton described him as a despotic, ruthless man with an explosive temper. Rutherford first associated with the Bible Students in 1894, being baptized in 1906. Because he was a lawyer, he fought lawsuits to clear Russell's name, and he defended the Bible Students in public debates. Due to his speaking ability and willingness to deal with adversaries, 2 months after Russell's death, he was elected president of the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society, even though Russell himself had hoped that his position would be taken up by a collective leadership of 5. Rutherford believed that the organization should be autocratic, for its own good, of course. It couldn't possibly be because he was a narcissist that had a hair-trigger temper. He felt that he should rule the society instead of just implementing the decisions of the board of directors. He was, in effect, power-hungry. During the period between Russell's death and Rutherford's election, several Bible students vied for the presidency, one of whom was Paul S.L. Johnson. Watchtower described him as the primary instigator of the schism that happened in 1917. It all started when Rutherford sent Johnson to England. Johnson went to England, found the society in disarray, and dismissed 2 local officers. Upon hearing this, Rutherford got mad and insisted that Johnson reinstate him. Eventually, Johnson returned to New York. Not long after this, a fight broke out between Rutherford and 4 directors. Rutherford and 4 of the Watchtower directors got into a scuffle. I'm not exactly sure what it was. My source isn't clear on that. However, Rutherford dismissed the 4 directors and brought in his own 4 yes-men. 5 days later, on July 17, 1917, Rutherford released The Finished Mystery. This book was a combination of Russell's work and other works, and was a commentary on Ezekiel, Revelation, and Song of Solomon. Johnson, the dismissed directors, and their supporters engaged Rutherford in a bitter debate. Watchtower portrayed Rutherford as innocent in this struggle, but he was far from it. He insisted that the directors pass bylaws to give the officers more power. In addition, the publication of The Finished Mystery was a unilateral action that ignored the prerogatives of the board of directors. He also ignored the supervisory rights of the board of directors as well as those of Vice President Pearson. In addition, he was acting in opposition to Russell's wishes as laid out in his will. Rutherford probably would have lost if he had taken this into court. Rutherford's personal behavior caused most of the problems, refusing to show any sense of accountability to the board of directors. Not only did he keep the printing of the finished mystery a secret, he used donations which had never been placed in Watchtower accounts for its printing. He also refused to let anyone see or audit the books. This is not to say that the ousted directors were entirely innocent. However, looking back, what the ousted directors demanded from Rutherford was far more reasonable than what the Watchtower depicts today. This expulsion resulted in a pamphlet war, with everyone involved telling their side of the story. Rutherford's opponents hoped to oust him in the annual meeting of shareholders in 1918, but Rutherford called for a popular vote. Even though this vote was non-binding, most Bible students voted for him because they were unaware of what was going on. The shareholders followed suit. Only two options were left for Johnson and the ousted directors: submit to Rutherford or leave. They chose to leave. Two new movements came out of the schism, one around three of the former Watchtower directors, and the other one around Paul Johnson, the Pastoral Bible Institute, and the Layman's Home Missionary Society. A third group on the west coast of the United States and Canada, called the Standfasters, also broke from the society. However, unlike separating over the disagreement between Rutherford and the directors, their main concern was that the Watchtower had not opposed patriotic endeavors in World War I. Russell and the Bible students opposed the United States' involvement in World War I. Even though they thought the war was fulfilling prophecy, they felt that the nation's involvement was somehow demonic, which, to be honest, doesn't make any sense. Because of this, Bible student men refused to fight in the war and were imprisoned for dodging the draft. According to my source, some were even executed. Due to a scathing campaign against the clergy, plus attacks on militarism, the finished mystery was banned, first in Canada and then in the United States. The United States government issued arrest warrants for 8 Watchtower directors, including Rutherford, on charges of sedition under the American Espionage Act. On June 21, 1917, 7 were sentenced to 20 years in a federal penitentiary, while the 8th received 10 years. In March of 1919, the U.S. Supreme Court ordered that the 8 men be released on bail, citing that they did not receive the impartial trial to which they were entitled. The U.S. dropped all charges a year later. Unfortunately, this led to the modern-day Jehovah's Witness doctrine that the faithful and discreet slave was appointed in 1919 because they were freed from prison and were then free to begin feeding God's sheep. Well, friends, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button, press the subscribe button, and if you want to know when I come out with new content, hit the bell next to the subscribe button. My Twitter, Discord, email, and PayPal links are in the description, along with the source that I used for this episode. If you wish to get in contact with me, Twitter is the best way, followed by email. Please leave comments in the comment section. Not only do I love hearing from you, but it also triggers the YouTube algorithm. Keep learning and searching for truth. Here are a few videos from my library. If you have not watched them yet, go ahead and watch them and tell me what you think. Until next time, friends, stay safe and goodbye.